Call.
So the telephone number we can put back up as a reminder. After the program's over, we'll be going to El Arroyo. The address is up on your screen. Any atheist or atheist-friendly person is welcome to come down. But if you come down to preach, proselytize, provoke, or punch, please don't. You can just call into the show and tell us what you believe and why, what your thoughts are. What do you think about love? Did we get some aspect of it wrong? Is there some insight that you have that we don't? And while we're waiting, I want to touch on an email that we got this morning that I don't have access to. I don't have it right in front of me.
Hey, I came up with the Star Trek rule a few weeks ago. I could kill time with that.
Yes, and that might be good to touch on too. This email, I was hoping that the guy would call in today. It's Adam, I think was his name, who kind of raised a couple of points about religion. One of the things that he was saying was that religion is kind of like medicine, that it makes people feel better, and that the only problem is that if you take too much of it, you can poison yourself. Boy, that's a really nice sentiment.
If you take sugar pills, you can make yourself feel better too.
And now you've killed the punchline.
Oh, shoot. I hate doing that.
So, next. No, it's a good sentiment, but it's wrong. Religion's like a placebo. It can make you feel better, but it's not actually treating any real problem. It's not actually doing anything real. And it may actually cause more harm because the real problem goes untreated. And if it's sugar pills, you can take so many of them that you can make yourself sick as well. This idea that religion doesn't do any harm, that it just helps people, that it's a good thing. The question that he asked was, do you think the world would be better off if everybody was an atheist? And the answer is yes. But only if they're atheists for the right reasons, and only if they have a good understanding about reality. Somebody who got mad at God, or just said, I don't want to live with any kind of, religious practices, traditions, codes. That's not the kind of atheism I'm talking about. And it's not so much atheism that is at issue here. What we're talking about is the application of reason, rational thought, critical thinking, and evidence to the decision-making process. What this person's saying by saying that religion is kind of like a medicine that makes people feel better, you're saying that it's okay and even preferable to lie to people if it makes them feel good. That may be the case in some situations. I'm sure there are cases where we lie to kids and we do it thinking that it's in their best interest, and it may in fact be in their best interest in some cases. I'm of the opinion that the world would be better off if people actually understood reality and learned to deal with reality on reality's terms.
Right. On the other hand, just because they lost their belief in God doesn't mean they'd suddenly start thinking.
Right, so, yeah. The absence of belief in God doesn't mean that you have any sort of grasp on reality or that you can make good decisions. Yes, I think the world would be better off if people abandoned religious beliefs. Why? Nobody's ever been able to provide a real benefit of religion that can't also be achieved by secular means, any real tangible benefit. The examples that this person used were things like, people dealing with illnesses or drug addiction or alcohol addiction. Well, congratulations. There are secular solutions to that as well. Secular sobriety being one of them, but also people can deal with their addictions on real terms. And what I'm saying is that while we don't have all the evidence to demonstrate that this is actually true, this is what I believe. If I can learn to understand reality and deal with it on its own terms, that to me seems like the best course of action. Because now I'm dealing with the problem. I'm not hiding from the problem. I'm not coming up with a placebo. I'm not coming up with a lie or some kind of comforting story to take my mind off of reality. If I'm sick, I go to a doctor. If I have an addiction problem, I seek help. And I don't need to seek it. I don't need to do what the Alcoholics Anonymous groups do, which is to say, oh, I'm this weak and feeble human, I can't possibly resolve this situation on my own. I must therefore turn to a higher power to deliver me from this addiction. What a crock. What a crock and an insult to all of those people who actually have beaten their addictions. Because for the ones who didn't go any kind of religious route, they obviously did it on their own. And for those who did, they did it on their own too, but they lied to themselves while doing it. That's the way it really works. Take credit for what you've done. Take responsibility for your actions. If you harm somebody else, it's your responsibility to make amends for that. Seeking forgiveness from a God is not a solution. It's asinine. Seek forgiveness from the person that you've harmed. Take responsibility for your actions. Take credit for your accomplishments. Pride is not this evil thing. False pride. That's a problem. Being proud of your accomplishments is nothing to be ashamed of.
You know, it actually reminds me of a cartoon that I saw in Mad Magazine years ago, where I think it was, you know, I was a terrible alcoholic, but I finally got over it. And the other person says, yeah, how did you do that? He says, well, now I smoke a lot of pot. Or I shoot a lot of heroin, maybe would be a better punchline.